Okay, let's dive right in. Today, we're exploring something pretty fundamental when you say fear,
Absolutely. And, the flip side of that, coin courage.
right?
Yeah.
We've got a stack of sources here, specifically digging into excerpts from Brave New You, Strategies, Tools, and Neurohacks to Live More Courageously Every Day by Mary Poffenroth.
Yeah. And our mission today really is to take what's in these excerpts and kind of unpack it, challenge some common ideas about fear, maybe bust a few
And we
myths.
get to the practical stuff, right? The
Right.
strategies the author lays out for, well, building a braver you.
Exactly. It's not going to be like a lecture. It's more about exploring these ideas together, using the source as our guide.
Totally. Think of it like a conversation. We're aiming for those aha moments, you know? And the author starts with something I think will resonate with a lot of people listening.
Hmm.
This feeling that you might be alone in your fears.
Hmm.
But the source says, look, everyone is actually afraid of being afraid.
That's such a powerful starting point because it immediately tackles that extra layer of anxiety we heap on top of fear itself.
I mean, at its core, fear is just primal. It's this incredibly powerful emotion hardwired into us for survival, alerting us to danger.
Kept us safe from like saber-toothed tigers back in the day.
Exactly. Served a very real purpose. But somehow, society started treating fear itself like it's the enemy. Not just the signal, but the feeling itself.
Yeah, like it's undesirable or a sign of weakness, something to hide.
Right, and you feel ashamed,
Yeah.
which is, just another cage. And the source makes this really critical distinction early on that helps break that down.
Oh, yeah.
The difference between factual fear and fictional fear.
Okay, factual versus fictional. Tell me more.
So factual fear is that immediate response to a genuine, life-threatening danger. This is the fear everyone gets is legitimate. The author tells this wild story
Oh.
about getting a pizza from one of those bear-proof boxes, and bam, a full-grown black bear is right there, inches away.
Whoa. Okay, that's factual.
Totally factual. Her response, sprinting, yelling, "Bear, start the car, be air." Okay, yeah, that's not an overreaction in that moment. Definitely not.
That's your system doing exactly what it's meant to do. Now, fictional fear, that's different.
How so?
It gets activated, but there isn't that immediate, real danger that needs the full-blown response. It often has like a grain of truth in it,
Okay.
but it's the kind of fear that just keeps you stuck, stops you from growing, from becoming who you want to be.
So fear of failure or
Yeah.
fear of success even.
Exactly. Fear of spontaneity, fear of loss, making mistakes, loneliness,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Okay. So factual fear is the bear. Fictional fear is worrying about asking for that raise
Hey,
because you might get rejected.
you got it. And the crucial thing the source emphasizes here is learning to tell the difference. That's the key.
Why is that so key?
Because factual fear protects you, right?
Yeah.
But fictional fears, those are the ones you actually have some power over. You can learn to change your response to them. You can't just, reason with a bear.
No, probably not. But you can work on how you react to the idea of failing. That makes a lot of sense. And it leads right into this other big idea.
Hmm.
The source really tackles this whole myth of being fearless.
Oh, yeah, that's everywhere. Like, it's the ultimate goal.
Be fearless. Conquer your fear.
But the message from this source is pretty blunt. Fearless is a facade. Courage isn't the opposite of fear. They're not enemies.
They're linked.
Deeply intertwined. Two sides of the same coin, really.
So courage isn't about not feeling afraid.
Nope. It's about what you do while you're feeling afraid. It comes from facing tough stuff, moving through it.
Okay.
And it's not like some fixed thing you're born with. It's fluid. You can actually build it, strengthen it with practice and the right tools.
There's that skydiving story in the book that kind of nails this.
Oh, the parachute failure one? Yeah.
Right. This guy's main chute fails. He uses his reserve, lands okay, and everyone's like, wow, you're so fearless, so calm.
Yeah. But he set them straight. He said something like, "Are you kidding? I was scared out of my mind."
Exactly. His courage wasn't the absence of terror. It was pulling that reserve cord despite being terrified.
That's courage. Having the training, the presence of mind to act through the fear.
Such an important distinction. Because if you buy into that whole fearless myth,
Yeah.
then when you inevitably do feel fear because you're human, you think something's wrong with you.
Right. You beat yourself up, feel ashamed.
And then you hide it even more. Vicious cycle.
Totally. And breaking that cycle means partly understanding why fear happens in the first place. It's not some moral failing, it's biology.
You're hardwired for it.
Absolutely. It's a complex response system.
Okay, let's get into that wiring then. What's going on inside?
Well, deep in the brain, you've got the amygdala, two little almond-shaped things. Think of them as your, smoke detectors.
Constantly scanning for danger.
Constantly. And they're pretty primitive, working in binary. Safe or not safe, threat or no threat. That's kind of it.
Okay. And then we have the more evolved part, the prefrontal cortex, our PFC.
Yeah, that's like mission control, logic, reason, planning, decision-making.
Yeah.
That's all happening up
Totally
there.
Yeah.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting, according to the source. When the amygdala sounds a strong alarm, like a big fear signal, your logical PFC actually goes functionally offline.
Wait, really? Your thinking brain just checks out when the fear brain takes over?
Pretty much, yeah. Temporarily, at least. Which is why it's so hard to think straight or make good calls when you're really scared.
Okay, that explains a lot.
The source uses this example of the author on a gondola in the Alps after she'd been isolated for a long time. Her courage had kind of weakened, like muscles you don't use.
Atrophied.
Right. Logically, she knew she was safe on the gondola, but her amygdala was screaming danger, and her PFC just couldn't get through.
Wow. So even knowing something isn't really dangerous doesn't always help if the amygdala is freaking out.
Exactly. That factual fear response is powerful. This whole setup is managed in your limbic system. And another key player is the hippocampus.
Ah, the memory center.
Right. Crucial for memory, especially learned fears. If something scares you once, like maybe public speaking went badly, the hippocampus logs that. It remembers, hey, this might be dangerous, trying to protect you next time.
Even if the situation isn't actually dangerous anymore, just similar.
Precisely. But here's the really hopeful part. The hippocampus can do neurogenesis. It can actually create new neurons, even later in life. Things like BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, help with this. So yes, it remembers the old fear pathways.
But it can build new ones.
Exactly. You have the biological capacity to build new, courageous pathways.
That's huge. The idea that the brain isn't fixed, the source shows these diagrams, right? Like with a spider.
Yeah, showing the fast and slow pathways. A threat signal comes in through the thalamus.
Okay.
The slow path sends it up to the sensory cortex, then hippocampus and amygdala, gives you a moment to process. But there's also a super fast track.
Straight to the amygdala.
The thalamus straight to amygdala, boom. Action before you even consciously register the threat.
That's that knee-jerk reaction. Jumping back before you even know why.
That's your instinctual survival trigger. And there are key chemicals fueling all this. Epinephrine, adrenaline.
The rush?
That's the one. Released by your adrenal glands, gets your heart pounding, breathing faster, blood pumping to your limbs, prepping for fight or flight.
Body's ready to move.
Yep. Norepinephrine helps out, boosts alertness. Then there's glutamate. A surge triggers adrenaline and cortisol release. Essential for real danger.
But problematic if it's constantly triggered by fictional fears.
Right. That constant surge isn't great long-term. Can contribute to anxiety, depression, that kind of thing.
So the system designed for the bear can backfire with, work stress.
Exactly. It wasn't designed for chronic psychological stuff. But then on the courage side, you have dopamine.
The happy chemical.
Often called that, yeah. Linked to pleasure, motivation, optimism. The source highlights its role in mustering courage to face danger, low levels. Linked to apathy, fuzzy thinking. Dopamine replacement is even used to treat depression sometimes.
So dopamine helps drive you towards things, even challenging ones.
You got it. And serotonin helps regulate mood, influences other chemicals, linked to bonding too.
So basically we're wired for fear, but also wired with the potential for courage. And the key is neuroplasticity.
That's the take-home from the biology part. Your brain can change. It can adapt, reorganize, build new pathways, all through your life.
So you can actually rewire your responses. Build those courage connections.
Absolutely. You're not stuck with the default fear patterns. You can actively change them.
Okay, so biology is foundational, but not destiny. We also build these cages around ourselves. Let's talk external ones first, societal fear.
Yeah, the source talks about language here, how it passes down customs, beliefs, values, but also fear.
How's that work?
Well, one big way is fear-mongering, using exaggerated, maybe even false information specifically to make people afraid, often for control or manipulation. The source points out how unchecked fear-mongering can lead to really negative outcomes: violence, intolerance, isolation, Just a general breakdown of trust. The example given is the use of the word terrorist after 9/11,
Right.
and how that specific fear was then used to justify laws that limited certain freedoms.
And the media obviously plays a huge role in spreading fear.
It's the main channel, right? And often, dread sells. It gets ratings, clicks, engagement. Plus, in the digital age, misinformation just spreads like crazy.
Yeah, the author mentions doom scrolling during the pandemic.
Right. Constantly consuming these fear-inducing stories actually trains your brain. It activates your PFC, gets it anticipating tragedy, even when you're perfectly safe sitting on your couch. It's like fear boot camp.
That's a good way to put it. And social media just amplifies everything.
Constant connection, the 24/7 news cycle, feeling scrutinized. It just keeps that low-level fear response buzzing, that not safe feeling.
And the source connects this directly to consumerism.
Says scared people make poor decisions. They're easier to control, easier to sell to.
Fear-based marketing.
Totally. Playing on anxieties, FOMO, job security, feeling unlovable. Using tactics like fake scarcity, limited time only, pushes you to buy things you think will make you feel safer or better.
It's pretty toxic when you think about it.
It really is. So how do you deal with these external cages?
What does the source suggest?
Hyper-awareness is step one. Really pay attention to how information is presented. Is the main goal just to scare you?
Be critical consumers of information.
Exactly. And maybe decrease exposure to the sources that constantly push fear. And importantly, use your own knowledge to spread education, transparency. Not more fear or guilt or shame. Your awareness is the first defense.
Okay, so being aware of the external pressures, that leads us to the internal cages, right? The ways we make ourselves afraid. The source calls these mind traps.
Yeah, basically glitches in how we process information, thinking errors that lead to these rigid, narrow thought patterns.
Not character flaws, just cognitive glitches.
Exactly. Common ones. They stop us seeing solutions, keep us stuck, make us see things negatively, even when the evidence doesn't really back it up.
Like looking through distorted glasses.
Yeah.
What are some examples from the book?
Oh, there are several. Things like blaming others, it's all their fault. Or catastrophizing, taking one small thing and blowing it way out of proportion.
Like, if this report isn't perfect, I'll get fired and lose everything.
Right. Or fortune telling, I just know it's going to go badly, so why bother? Magnification and minimization is another, focusing only on the negatives, ignoring any positives.
Or overgeneralization. Using words like always or never based on one event.
Yep. I always mess things up. These traps feel kind of safe for a moment because they let you avoid the actual fear.
Like a temporary shield.
Yeah, but they hold you back from growth, from connection. They chip away at your self-esteem, make you less likely to take risks.
And they link to other personal fears the source mentions, like hypervigilance. The author called this the hummingbird thing.
Right, that constant busyness, trying to feel safe and in control by just doing all the time. It's exhausting, makes relaxing almost impossible.
And society kind of rewards it, right? Busyness is a status symbol.
Totally. Then there's problematic perfectionism, that if it's not perfect, it's worthless mindset.
Where does that come from?
Often rooted in this belief that perfection equals safety. Safety from judgment, from failure. It's tied up with fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of uncertainty.
How do you tackle that one?
The source suggests deliberately practicing done is better than perfect, experimenting with letting go of that tight control.
Which connects to fear of failure itself. The source mentions studies on how students react.
Yeah, some avoid the task completely, some just scale back their effort to minimize potential failure, but the research really favors reframing failure.
Seeing it as part of learning, not the end of the world.
Exactly, and this fear is often learned maybe from critical parents or past experiences.
And imposter syndrome, that statistic was wild. 70% of people report feeling this.
Isn't that incredible? People who are objectively successful, accomplished, still feeling like frauds inside, convinced they're going to be found out.
Why is it so common?
It makes it hard to internalize your successes. You attribute them to luck or timing or fooling people. The author shares a really relatable story about feeling like an imposter on her first day of college after literally falling into a ditch.
Oh, no. But yeah, that feeling is real, and underlying a lot of this is avoidance.
Just doing anything else to not face the fear or the difficult emotion, cleaning, scrolling, working constantly.
Or, as the author did, literally fleeing the country after her mother died.
Yeah, anything to create distance. Avoidance feels safer in the moment. But what you really want, growth, connection, achieving your goals, it's almost always on the other side of facing that discomfort, that fear.
The source has that cute story about the plant. Cutie pie.
Yeah, it's a great little example. The author was convinced she killed all plants a mind trap, so she deliberately named one, took care of it, and it thrived. Practicing rewriting that one small cognitive distortion helped her learn to challenge others.
It's about practice. Okay, so we've got the fear, the myths, the biology, the cages. How do we break free? This is where the tools come in, the neurohacks. The core idea seems to be action is key.
Fear plus action equals courage. That's the equation the source presents.
Right, so what's in the toolbox?
Okay, one really simple physical one is the Hegu meridian massage.
The pressure point.
Yeah, in the fleshy bit between your thumb and index finger. Massaging that stimulates the vagus nerve, which signals your brain to release feel-good chemicals, calms down that ruminating part of your brain, and kicks in your parasympathetic nervous system, the calming system.
Wow, a quick physical trick. The author uses it for late-night racing thoughts. What about grounding?
A version of the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. When fear spikes, you pause. Use your senses. Observe 4 things you see, 4 you hear, 4 you smell, 4 you touch. Name each one 4 times.
How does that help?
It just pulls you out of the spiraling thoughts and into the present moment. Distracts the amygdala, brings calm. The author used it backstage, focusing on the curtain, her shoes.
Very practical for those intense moments. Then there's the RAIN method, more structured.
Yeah, RAIN is a 4-step process. R is for recognize. Acknowledge your physical signs of fear. Shoulders tense, jaw clenched, heart racing. Just notice it.
Naming it helps.
Switches on your thinking brain. This source also mentions noticing if you're reacting like a turtle, hiding, withdrawing, or a porcupine lashing out, getting loud. The fear wheel in the book helps identify the specific emotion too.
Okay, recognize. What's A?
A is for assign. Categorize the fear. The source suggests most fictional fears boil down to 2 core ones: fear of not enough or fear of losing control.
Interesting simplification. I is identify.
Yep. Just state which of those 2 core fears you think is driving your reaction right now. Clarifies the root cause.
And N is navigate.
Navigate. Choose a toolbox: breathing, the Hegu point, whatever works for you to actively move through that feeling.
So RAIN gives you a clear path. What about journaling? The fear tracker.
Yeah, logging anxious thoughts, date, trigger, intensity, physical feelings, how you reacted, and this is key, how you wish you'd reacted.
How does tracking help long term?
You start seeing patterns, gain insight, develop better coping strategies over time.
And the spiraling thought journal. That sounds intriguing.
You literally write your negative self-talk in a spiral shape on paper.
Why a spiral?
It's a visual jolt. Helps break the loop, reminds you physically that you are not those swirling thoughts.
I like that. Another simple one. Speak it out.
Just verbalizing the thoughts. Say them out loud to a friend, the mirror, your pet, like the author's dog, Bandit.
How does saying it help?
It interrupts the internal rumination, gets it out of your head. Placing a hand on your heart and belly can be comforting while you do it too.
The source also mentions harnessing sound.
Yeah, music, chants, mantras. Sound is powerful for shifting emotional states. Binaural beats too, listening to slightly different frequencies in each ear, your brain creates a third tone. Some studies link it to reduced anxiety, better focus.
And ASMR.
Those specific sound or visual triggers that give some people tingles can potentially reduce stress, promote relaxation. But the source is clear, it's highly individual, doesn't work for everyone.
Right, definitely hit or miss. What about more traditional approaches like exposure therapy?
Or desensitization, gradually facing your fears, but in a safe, controlled way.
How does that build courage?
Repetition. Each time you face the fear and survive, your brain logs it as a win. It builds new, courageous neural pathways and weakens the old fear response. Remember the author on the gondola?
Yeah, her courage had atrophied.
Exposure therapy is like the physiotherapy to rebuild that courage muscle. It changes your perception from threat to, okay, this is a challenge I can handle.
Self-compassion is in the toolbox too.
Oh, absolutely crucial. Accepting yourself, flaws and all. Being kind to yourself when you fail or struggle instead of beating yourself up. It's key for resilience.
And connections. Creating meaningful connections.
We're wired for connection, but we can also learn fears socially. Think about how Jaws made people scared of sharks based on a story.
Good point.
So actively building real connections is vital. The source mentions danger bonding, how sharing intense experiences can bond people quickly, like that scuba diving panic attack story the author tells.
Where she realized the surface was the danger, not the deep.
Exactly. But you don't need life or death situations. High-value, low-cost interactions matter too.
Meaning?
High value are those deep friendships, Low cost are the everyday positive interactions, smiling at the cashier, waving to a neighbor. Both boost happiness, release good chemicals like oxytocin and dopamine, which help shrink fears and build bravery.
Okay. Shinrin-yoku, forest bathing.
Just spending mindful time in nature. Research shows it calms the fight-or-flight system, lowers heart rate, blood pressure, reduces anxiety, cortisol, adrenaline. It combines nature's benefits with mindfulness, which helps extinguish fear responses.
And gratitude practice. Seems simple, but powerful.
Very powerful. Actively noticing and appreciating the good things, acknowledging others. It boosts dopamine resilience, self-esteem, bravery. Reduces stress, increases happiness.
What are some ways to practice it?
Writing down joys, doing a thanks to me exercise, celebrating tiny wins, maybe keeping a courage jar, jotting down notes whenever you act bravely.
I love the courage jar idea, a physical collection of your brave moments. And last but not least, play.
Don't dismiss play. It actually reduces fear and dread, boosts brain areas involved in emotion regulation. Getting into a flow state during play reduces stress. Your brain literally can't be in fear and flow simultaneously.
Plus, playing with others releases bonding hormones.
Yep. Dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. Boosts creativity, makes you more willing to take risks. It's serious stuff.
Wow. That's an incredible toolkit, all grounded in the biology and psychology we talked about. So the final piece the source brings in is rewriting your story. The power of narrative.
Yeah, this is huge. How you see yourself, the stories you tell about your past and your potential, they actually shape your reality. Remember the Pygmalion effect study? Teachers' beliefs about students influenced how the students actually performed.
Our internal narrative matters just as much, if not more.
Exactly. If your story about a past fearful event casts you as a victim, that narrative limits your belief in handling future challenges.
So the source offers a way to change the story. The fairy tale rewrite exercise.
Right. It's a technique to reframe those old fear-based memories and build self-efficacy, that belief in your own ability to succeed.
Step 1 is the shitty first draft.
Aha, yeah, borrowing Anne Lamott's phrase. Just get the raw, messy, honest version of that pivotal fear moment down on paper. The author uses her childhood embarrassment about her palate expander.
Get it all out. Then steps 2 and 3.
Rewrite it as a fairy tale. In the third person, with you as the hero or heroine. Include all the elements: hero, villain, maybe the fear itself, goal, challenges, and crucially, a happy ending.
Why a fairy tale structure?
It creates distance, allows for self-compassion, you identify the injustice maybe, and you actively rewrite the ending towards a positive outcome. It installs a new belief: I can overcome.
Like the author rewriting her story to say, Princess Mary stood tall, this is how I talk, I am worthy.
Exactly. It's incredibly powerful. It shows that changing your thoughts, changing your story, directly changes your emotions and builds your capacity for courage.
It's not about erasing the fear, but changing your relationship to it, giving yourself agency.
That's the core message. These tools, these reframes, they empower you to shift your perception in your response.
Wow. Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive. Fear is complex, natural, often misunderstood. The whole fearless idea is damaging.
Right. And our biology gives us the capacity for both fear and courage, and importantly, the ability to change through neuroplasticity.
We have these external societal pressures and internal mind traps, but we also have this amazing toolkit, biological keys, cognitive strategies, ways to connect.
And the fundamental truth: courage isn't not feeling fear, it's acting anyway. The source suggests the real danger isn't the scary unknown deep water, it's staying stuck on the surface, getting tossed around by those fictional fears. Courage is diving in.
So a final thought for you listening, based on everything we've explored today. Maybe pick one fictional fear or one mind trap that kind of resonated with you, and then think, could you choose just one tool we talked about? Maybe the Hagu point next time you feel anxious, or trying rain on a small worry, or just speaking one negative thought out loud, or putting one small brave act in a courage jar. What's one tiny action you could take, maybe even today, to start challenging that fear and beginning to rewrite your story?
It's a process, right? A journey. Every small step counts. And you're definitely not alone in figuring this stuff out.